At the moment, people don't necessarily walk to the fridge in the retail store to find a red wine. They look on the shelves and they're used to drinking a red wine with their steak or a cold winter night in front of the fire. We've got a job to do in kind of changing people's perceptions of red wine and educating them that whenever you would normally reach for a rosé or a craft beer or a seltzer, that there's a red wine there that will give you an amazing taste profile but also really fit into that occasion.
You can't sit in a business like wine, which is pretty much like fashion. You can't sit there and wait for the next 20 years to come around and to be doing something new again. You have to always be innovating and changing. If you sit and wait, you die.
As a generation 4 of a company called Brown Brothers, we're actually led by 8 women and 2 men in our generation.
I think as a woman working in the wine industry, we can only be proud of the steps that we've made forward. Every time I get the next step done, we get closer to getting this wine in tank, blended, and essentially to the bottle. Certainly not the end of the road in terms of being a stressed winemaker.
Challenges like this come up once in a generation.
At a $20 proposition, I would find this not premium enough.
Certainly not as fresh for the second one.
With the feedback given today, we've got to make some really fundamental changes.
You could look at a winemaker being like an artist. It's like putting your art on show and waiting for the critics to come through, and you guys are the critics.
I expected more colour from the pressings.
I'm going to start off with wine 1, the 2022 Tarango.
If this wine doesn't turn out the way we were hoping it was going to, and it ends up getting rejected by the retailer, it's going to come back to me. So the pressure's on.
Brown Brothers was founded in 1889 by our great-grandfather, John Francis Brown, and he started here in Millewa as more of a hobby farm, and he planted 10 acres of Shiraz here in the site in Millewa. But really, I don't think he had any idea that it would become the wine business that it is today. Now, we're 133 years on, and we're proud to say we're still a family-owned business. Today is a really special day. We have our annual Brown Family Conference. Being part of this family is an absolute privilege. Being able to share something that is bigger than us. It's a huge legacy, and really we see ourselves as custodians, and it's our responsibility really to take this business and take this legacy and make sure that it's stronger when we get to pass it on to the next generation to come. At the lunch today, we're going to have representation from the 3rd generation, the 4th generation and the 5th generation of the Brown family. Whenever kind of presenting ideas to the family, there's naturally a lot of anxiety, a little bit of stress. Presenting to them, you're always kind of on point. You need to be on point.
Got something to say, Emma?
I do. Firstly, how exciting to all be here today for Family Conference, and I think a huge opportunity for us to be thinking about the future. So we've certainly seen the red wine category decline over the years, which is really concerning, seeing big varietals such as Shiraz and Cabernet leading declines in the Australian market, that consumers' tastes and preferences are starting to move away from those heavier reds and starting to look towards kind of casual, lighter, refreshing categories such as seltzers, RTDs, craft beers, and we're missing out on a huge opportunity. How we're looking to do that is through Tarango. Catherine is about to embark in vintage with the winemaking team to make this Tarango product that's suited to these occasions. This sounds like a little bit of a blast from the past for us. Uncle John, you did such an amazing job developing this Tarango grape varietal that's designed for the Australian climate, something that you have been exploring since the late 70s into the 80s, that is absolutely right now finding its time to shine. So watch this space, and I'm excited to go on the journey with you all.
Well done.
Love Tarango.
I know you do. The nature of the job that we have to do is quite intimidating, because we really are creating a new habit and occasion for red wine.
I'm not sure what words explain just how
how important that is to me to see Tarango relaunched. It could have been absolutely lost to Australia and lost to our winery without this new initiative.
We've got very strong and capable people within our family, particularly the women, and they'll move mountains to make anything happen.
The generation prior to me was all male, and my current generation is nearly all female. So it's just, for me, it's just really wonderful to see smart, intelligent women working together and supporting one another to do great things.
We get stuff done. We just get stuff done.
I think the biggest challenges are really we can pull together a beautiful wine. We're pretty good at that. We can put it in a beautiful package and get it out into the market, but the most challenging part is people taking it off the shelves.
We're in very unique times at the moment because of COVID. Everywhere around the world, supply chains are really difficult. So we're working really hard to make sure that we get the components to get to our bottling schedule in late July, to make sure that we are actually able to get this product on shelf in time to line up with the retailer demand and be shoppable by consumers. There's always going to be some trials and tribulations in bringing a product to market, but that's what we're here to do, make magic happen.
Now is the perfect time for the Tarango grape. People drink what's exciting and what's new, and we're seeing a trend that people want to drink lighter style red wines. So we're here today in beautiful Mystic Park in northern Victoria, and we've got the Tarango grapes just out behind us. From what I hear, the fruit's nearly ready to be taken into the winery, so I'm going to go have a look at it, taste it, and make the decision of whether we're going to bring it in or not. My name's Catherine Brown, and I'm the 4th generation winemaker here at Brown Brothers. Part of winemaking is not doing it on your own. So to have Simon by my side as we're tasting the grapes, we can bounce ideas off each other, is really important. So nice to get out in the vines.
Best time of year for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for the growing season, we've been relatively lucky. It reminds you that we are just farmers in the end.
So, KB, we got a sample of this the other day. What was the Beaumet when they went through?
I think we're getting close. We're aiming for 12 Beaumet, and I think we're nearly there.
Okay.
But it's so important to get out to the vineyard and actually taste the fruit and see how it's looking.
Yeah.
We certainly want to get that nice, juicy red fruit character and a nice bit of acid. So we'll have a bit of a try and see what they're like.
Okay.
And of course, we want to make sure that the pips are nice and crunchy. Got one there. Thank you. Let's have a look at these. Yeah, it's looking good.
It's a really nice colour in those seeds.
And good acid. That's what I'm really keen to see. For the Tarango fruit, I'm looking for those beautiful red fruit flavours. I'm looking for cranberry, I'm looking for red currant, but then also I want that nice little bit of sugar sweetness on the back. That sweetness is going to be fermented out through the winemaking process, so we're going to end up with a dry style wine, but with those really nice fruit flavours.
So I guess you're looking for a bit more balance with that sort of 12% alcohol. You don't want to go sort of too much higher.
Yeah, well,
that sort of 13.
The style that I feel that we're making here is that lighter alcohol, which is about 12%.
Yeah.
So, it just worries me that if we leave it out here much longer, we're going to start pushing it up to that sort of 13%. We're going to get more of those jam characters rather than that, cranberry sort of character that I really want. We just need to get these grapes into the winery and get moving. Let's make some wine. The Tarango grape is unique to us. We've been working with Tarango for over 50 years, but no one else in Australia uses the grape variety. It was back in the 1960s that Tarango was actually developed here in Australia, crossing 2 grape varieties that can actually deal really well with a warmer climate, and it was a real success for us back then. Uncle John, who was the winemaker in the 3rd generation of the family, started working with this wine back in the 60s, 70s and 80s. It was my Uncle Peter who was behind the viticulture side of things. So it was really a family interaction to develop Tarango to what we've learned about it today. With consumer trends, things changed and we have stopped making this wine for a number of years now. Now is the perfect time for Tarango. We're looking so much at climate change and grape varieties that suit the Australian climate. To give this wine a rebirth, to bring it back and to really make the family proud of this variety that we'd worked so hard on really makes me passionate about what we're about to do. At Brown Brothers, I'm lucky to bring with me over 130 years of family winemaking knowledge. So before I begin the winemaking process with Tarango, I'm meeting up with Uncle John in the old family cellar to get some final insights on how he originally brought Tarango to life. So this is a real museum in a way of all the bottles that we have here.
Yes, there's quite a history of wine in here.
And you and your brothers spent a lot of time working down here?
Yes, we did. We had a very basic bottling facility. We'd carry the cartons or the crates over to the bay and stack them up one on one. Empty boxes would go back upstairs for another batch of bottles.
Your memory of working with Tarango in the winery?
Yes, I was the first one to make Tarango. That was in 1978.
And did you have to try a lot of different methods with winemaking when you...
Absolutely. The first ones needed a fair bit of work on to get them right.
Yeah.
They were too light, and I didn't realise that carbonic maceration may be a better way to go. It's a way to get more flavour into the wine.
For you to be able to pass this on to my generation and the generation of your grandchildren is really special.
Yes, thank you. I loved wine, loved everything to do with wine for the whole of my life. I was very lucky to have winemaking as my role.
Thank you so much, Uncle John, for
That's been my real pleasure, I have to say.
everything that you put in, and let's hope the generations to come can keep this business going and see it continue for many more generations.
And build on a good base.
Absolutely. You set it up for us.
Yeah.
The Kindergarten Winery is a very special place for us as winemakers here at Brown Brothers. It's a small-scale winery where we get to innovate and experiment. And as Uncle John has always said to us, this is where we get to really screw things up. So we have everything that we have out in the main winery, but in a smaller scale. And this is where we're going to be playing with the Tarango. The fruits come in looking fantastic, so I just wanted to show it to you.
Yeah, let's have a look.
So this is the machine harvested stuff that's come in. And I've actually gone through Uncle John's winemaking notes.
Okay.
From when he was making this back in the 1980s.
Yeah, right.
And we really want to get that lighter style red. And because you've made Pinot Noir before, I thought I'd get you across what I had in mind.
Any tips for sort of getting a bit more colour out of it, you think?
I'm actually going to put this in one of the bathtub fermenters up in the kindergarten. The bathtub allows us to hand plunge as well as sort of pump the juice back over the skin, so that's going to extract some more colour. A great thing is also I'm going to do a carbonic maceration parcel. We got some hand-picked fruit. And look at the size of these bunches. This is so beautiful.
That looks excellent.
So with the carbonic maceration, the ferment actually happens inside the berry. So we keep these berries whole. We're going to add a bit of yeast to the bins. We'll wrap the bins up, leave them out here in the breezeway, and let Mother Nature take its course. That
carbonic, it should give it a really nice sort of a strawberry lift, maybe a little bit of bubble gum, and it just sort of softens the tannin as well. So it should be ready to drink nice and early using that technique in the Tarango. And having the different parcels, I think we're going to have the stuff in the bathtub. It's going to be more of a savoury sort of parcel, and this is going to be that fruit drive. And then we get to the blending process to bring those parcels together. It really excites me about what we can make. Excellent. Let's get into it. Yeah, fantastic. There's always nerves when you take the fruit and take it into the winery, and now it's in your hands. It's essentially the passing of the baby. Once it comes to me in the winery, it's my responsibility. There's this little sort of monkey on my shoulder saying, don't screw it up, because it's not just my work, it's a large amount of work that's gone into it. There's always a risk in taking a new wine to market. Luckily, at Brown Brothers, we've done it before, and hopefully we can do a good job of it again. A good design is one that you see on a table next to you, like at a cafe or at a restaurant, and you're like, whatever they're drinking, I want. So I'm really excited to see what you have today. We've either got some beautiful looking berries that have started the little micro ferments, or we've got a bin full of mould. Oh, wow.
Brown Brothers is a traditional company. We've been around for over 130 years. So if you look at our historical labels, they have changed over the years, but we've also really remained quite traditional. Tarango is a really unique varietal, and we're the only wine company in Australia that makes Tarango. So it's a really big communication job to explain to somebody what Tarango is. If you go into a bottle shop now, it's such a cluttered market. You walk in, it's really intimidating. You see all these bottles out on the shelf. And for the average wine drinker, how do you choose a bottle? So we're working with a design agency called The Company You Keep. They're based in Melbourne. So Emma and I will be heading to Melbourne today to have a look at the initial designs.
Yeah, a lot riding on these designs, so I'm really excited to get you across them. I hope the team have really pushed it.
We're trying to bring the business into, today's era. Telling the story of the brand and where we've come from is really important as well. So,
and talking about the quality and like the trust that Brown Brothers has in wine, whilst doing something fun and different.
There's a few options we might want to go through today.
Move that.
All right, so what we've tried to do here is using that die-cutted format, really heroing Brown Brothers as the endorsed kind of qualifier for this product in the die-cut form itself, so the eyes kind of led right down to Brown Brothers.
I like that. It looks very modern, but it also has a little bit of an Austin Powers sort of feel to it for me.
Retro.
Yeah.
On this label here, there's this kind of, almost like apothecary style qualifying label. We thought, how do we kind of like reinvent that in a contemporary way? Can we bring that in? Can we use layerings?
I love this. This one probably stands out the most to me, but I'd probably love to see that in without sounding, boring, like more muted colour tones and these, maybe instead
you're killing me. Light and bright.
Beautiful greens and maroons and things I think would look quite sophisticated, as you said.
I'm more favouring kind of the bright poppy designs, whereas Carol Ann's wanting to maybe pull them back and make them a bit more subtle. So I think that's maybe where we're going to have a little bit of tension kind of through this next stage of getting something that we both feel is right and that we're really proud of putting on the table. We're coming up against the clock pretty closely, so we're going to have to get a move on and decide on a name, decide on printing and get it done.
We're excited. Let's do it.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And
Great to see you.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. I guess Catherine, Emma and myself all bring different elements to the business. So sometimes it's the joys, but also the frustrations that you're not always going to get it your way. I'm just still not sure about the colours.
Today we're here celebrating the 19th release of our Patricia wines, named after my grandmother. Nana would celebrate her birthday this week, so it totally makes sense to release these wines, which are the very best wines we make. We're absolutely blessed this year that we have 5 wines that go into the Patricia range, and we're having lunch here today to celebrate that.
Nana means everything to me and my sisters and my cousins. She absolutely was fiercely determined, a real role model for females, not only within the family, but within the business. She was married to my grandfather, second generation John Charles, and she brought up 4 boys in her house who all went on to work within the Brown Brothers business and make it what it is today.
I was the first female born into the Brown family in 66 years. And so Patricia was my role model from a business perspective about how to be and how to work and how to navigate all the men in the family and the work that we did together as a family. She holds a very special place in my heart.
Nana never had a real official role in the business. She would still show up every day to the office. She knew absolutely everybody, and she was really the glue that kept the family together.
Being at this place at the Millua site, she's everywhere, and yeah, I'm just really proud that she was my Nana.
I think as a woman working in the wine industry, we can only be proud of the steps that we've made forward and that we are now being recognised as leaders in what used to be a male-dominated industry, but also that the family recognises that part of my generation is very female-dominated, and for our business to continue this legacy, us women are at the forefront of taking Brown Brothers, which has a very male name, forward.
Well, I think it's really important in this age when women and girls are leading the charge in new developments and the way things go, but they haven't had much of a commercial presence. And I think now we've got the chance to do that. And I think that's just beneficial for the future.
Hello everyone, I hope you're enjoying your lunch. I've been very much looking with envious eyes at the food that's going in front of you. A little over a week ago, we celebrated International Women's Day. Just this week, we're celebrating Patricia. And as a generation 4 of a company called Brown Brothers, we're actually led by 8 women and 2 men in our generation.
I actually tried to change the name of the business. We tried really hard to turn it into Brown Sisters, but that didn't work. But we landed on Brown Family Wine Group. So I think there's always been a very strong influence of women. It probably just hasn't been as visible.
Woke up this morning with the sunrise in my eyes. Just like a new day, a breath of fresh air in my life.
Okay, nervous moment, Simon. We've either got some beautiful looking berries that have started the little micro ferments, or we've got a bin full of mould.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, let's have a look.
Rip it open.
Take this off. Oh, wow. Not seeing any mould. We've got some elements of yeast over here, which shows the ferment's happening. There's bubbles in the corner. You can see some juice. It just tastes like Christmas pudding.
It's nice and clean, isn't it? Some nice strawberry, even ripe banana.
Yeah, cherry flavours.
Smells amazing.
Winner. We're on
I think that looks ready to tip in the press.
Great. Let's get it going then.
All right.
Always nerve-wracking when you've got a forklift with essentially your precious ferments. And yeah, Mandy did a great job of tipping it. We didn't lose any fruit. That was my biggest worry, that we'd drop some, but everything made it into the press. So, but these are just such a small component. We've still got the main ferment to get in there. We've put all the hard work in at this point. Let's hope that it keeps going and that nothing gets in our way now, but certainly not the end of the road in terms of being a stressed winemaker.
Looks pretty good, KB.
Good to go?
Yeah, good to go.
Okay, turning on. It's looking good. Yeah, Simon, come and have a look at this. Look at that colour. So I know we had a few discussions about the right picking date and feeling really conscious that we wanted to get that red fruit. I think we picked the right day. I'm smelling this now.
And I think it was the right thing to do going with that wild ferment. You know, it's built in some complexity. It's finished the ferment nice and clean. So, yeah, really happy with the way it's turned out.
Yeah. We'll get it into tank and let's get this over to the press.
Excellent. OK, let's have a look.
One more step done. Every time I get the next step done, we get closer to getting this wine in tank, blended, and essentially to the bottle, which means it's out of my hands from then on. Bit of a stress sometimes, but we're getting there.
I don't know how and don't know why, but I'll be toasting all my life.
So part of our strategy is to introduce a new chilled red wine varietal in Tarango.
The risk with any sort of innovation is that it's not going to resonate.
If you could look at a winemaker being like an artist, it's like putting your art on show and waiting for the critics to come through, and you guys are the critics.
This morning I'm here at the Dan Murphy Support Office in Elphington. We're going to be presenting where we're at with the project and the opportunity. I've brought Marcel today, and Marcel is the brand manager working on Brown Brothers. Here we are. Let's do this. Hi, Ben.
Morning, Emma. Nice to see you again.
Tim.
Emma,
Lovely
nice
to
to
see
see
you.
you.
Hi, Mel.
Hi, Tim. Nice to meet you, Marcel. Marcel.
There's a lot riding on today because ultimately if it bombs or if we don't really get our point across to the Dan Murphy's team, we won't have a product on shelf. Sure, Ben, kind of from a category standpoint, you've seen different categories such as seltzers and craft beers really taking over those daytime drinking occasions of picnics, and as people are kind of having longer lunches and enjoying a tipple over those occasions, that wine really is starting to miss out on some of those occasions, and particularly red wine. So part of our strategy is to introduce a new chilled red wine varietal in Tarango that's really designed to be chilled and designed for that occasion.
I think we're certainly aligned on sort of the opportunity. Tarango, sort of hearing it sort of really for the first time now, like it's not a great varietal that we really currently range in our stores.
Yeah.
So is there a reason why you've gone with Tarango, more so from a sort of customer-facing point of view as opposed to the grape in the bottle?
Yeah, Tarango is kind of this beautiful blend of Touriga, Nacional and Sultana. So it's quite unique in the sense that it's actually a grape varietal that lends itself to the changing Australian climate as well. As Australia gets warmer, the mainland growing gets warmer, a varietal that's kind of here to stay. So we've more taken our choice of Tarango from what's going to best fit the Australian climate into the future.
Given that sort of the packaging is going to be so critical to the success, do you have any early concepts, Emma?
I do. I brought a couple of early concepts to talk you through. These are the designs as they stand at the moment. I'm really keen to get kind of your open, honest feedback of where we're sitting. We're looking at around a $20 price point from kind of where the category's sitting and the occasion that people are buying for.
At a $20 proposition, I would find this design probably not premium enough.
What we've found with wine as well is that we're trying to really simplify it down, especially for that more, premium younger audience as well. They don't really want to know about what's won all the awards or like the really fancy lingo that kind of explains it. It's been really about simplifying it down and, like I said, saying this will taste like a Grenache, this will taste like a Gamay, whatever it is, to have something they can tangibly compare it to.
Yeah.
It's about opening up those sort of new occasions for red wine. When we do that, it pushes us sort of into a space where we're competing against seltzer, we're competing against rosé, we're competing against craft beer. And I think sort of when you look at those categories and what's working, they're all products or sort of packaging solutions where it's like, as a customer, I'm happy to be seen out with that.
Yeah. I'm
happy to be seen next to it. Like that picture on Instagram, like that social setting, this is what I've brought. And to Tim's point, I don't think that sort of this nails that.
To be honest, after today's meeting, the design piece is really going to be our Achilles heel in this whole project. With the feedback given today, we've got to make some really fundamental changes in how we're bringing the label to life, and we're absolutely on critical path. So we've got a lot of work to do to make sure we get this product on shelf.
The risk with any sort of innovation, anything new, is that it's not going to resonate how you expect it to. So for us to stock Tarango nationwide in Dan Murphy's, it's really sort of our belief that the final proposition, the taste, the packaging, the labelling, that it's really completely delivered on the customer opportunity and the category opportunity. If it achieves all of those things, then absolutely, you'll see it in every Dan Murphy's store in the country.
Oh, you didn't know I had something in my teeth. I didn't see it. I'm not standing on that side of you.
Are you nervous tonight about how the wines might be received by the rest of the family?
The thought process I've got is to show it to the family today, get their feedback. If one of those blends comes out as all the family saying like, yeah, I love this, bam, we've got it.
Great. I hope we end up in that position because we need to get bottling pretty soon.
Be a perfect world, wouldn't it?
It would. No pressure at all.
And then hopefully from that we'll have some blends to get off to Dan Murphy's and see what they say.
Yeah, their tasting panel is always quite a rigorous one.
What's more scary?
I don't know. Family or customer, I'm not too sure. We'll find out.
Yeah, very soon. Good luck.
Yep, let's do this.
You could look at a winemaker being like an artist. It's like putting your art on show and waiting for the critics to come through, and you guys are the critics. A very nerve-wracking moment, you could say, because it's that time where vintage is done, the wines are in tank. I have 3 parcels of Tarango, and hopefully you like them. So tonight we've got the 3 parcels that I've worked on, one in the carbonic maceration method. Uncle John and I've spoken quite a bit about this method. It's a method that he's always seen as a very good method to work with Tarango. And then we've got 2 wines made in a traditional red wine method. Those 3 parcels have then been used to put together 3 different blends. So the idea is we get to taste these parcels so you can really see where these blends have come from and the different components and flavours that we've worked with. Then move on and look at those 3 blends, and we might do a bit of a vote at the end of the night. Hopefully I don't end up with 0 votes at the end, but it's all part of the game, you could say. So we've got glasses in hand. Let's pass these wines around and have a bit of a taste.
It's very floral.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Light.
I expected more colour from the pressing.
Lightweight and quaffable.
There's that lovely cherry sweetness coming through in the back palate there.
It is quite different. It's got really much more floral character in a way. Yeah.
It's certainly on the nose, and it's noticeable.
Yeah.
Juicy fruits and very easy.
Cherry flavours.
Historically, the wine's been richer and more structured, but this is a fresher, lighter and more contemporary style.
It was fresher and more complete than I expected. I'm pleasantly surprised. I think they've done a great job with it.
This is brown brothers who may be called brown sisters in the future. And you don't joke about that when you've got 3 daughters working in the business, but in reality, what we're seeing here is a really good reflection of current taste towards fresher, lighter red wines.
I guess the only thing unexpected is the carbonic maceration character, which can give a sort of dubiness or confectionery character, but having too much of that would be too full on. So it's nice to have other blending options with that dubiness to add complexity and different characters.
It was the old men who used to like the big, rough, full-bodied reds. The women now have more influence in the purchase of wine, and I think they're really on a winner. It's going to make wine drinking more everybody's thing, I think.
Hands up for the first one.
Number 3.
And then the one we tasted first.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second one. 1, 2.
Beer drinkers in the corner.
The third one. 1, 2. 3. All right. Winner's the first one, number 3.
Hey.
5 votes to 2 to 3. Thank you.
The one I like best had probably the most carbonic maceration, where you get this extra fermentation character coming through, and number 3 was my favourite.
So it was a nerve-wracking moment. I host a lot of wine dinners and a lot of wine tastings, and I judge at wine shows, but that's a tough crowd. Putting up a wine in front of your own family is hard. So to get those votes for blend 3 gives me a little bit of relief. It shows that they like the wine. To have Uncle John essentially give me a pat on the back was a huge relief. I wanted to make him proud. I always want to make the family proud in anything I do. But to hear those words of well done, yeah, just so important.
The wine samples came in for us to take a look at.
You want something that's going to show through when it's chilled, but it's still going to retain sort of that appeal when it warms up a little bit.
It's nerve-wracking to have everyone sitting around the room critiquing your wines. It's a big moment, and you sort of have to really put your emotions in your back pocket and play that poker face.
So today the wine samples came in for us to take a look at, make sure they fitted with the customer proposition. So our wine panel process is the same, sort of whatever it is that we're evaluating. We'll look at the samples that we've got, we'll benchmark them against product that's in our existing range, product that we know is working, that we know is resonating. Ultimately, we want to ensure that what we're bringing in not only delivers a point of difference, but it's also at least as good, but ideally better than what we've currently got.
Okay.
A lot lighter than the benchmarks. You can see that
I like
straight
the colour.
away.
The colour's got some nice sort of pinks through it. So.
You want something that's going to show through when it's chilled, but it's still going to retain sort of that appeal when it warms up a little bit.
I like the red fruit in that. It's got a nice sort of raspberry, red berry kind of spectrum. All right, let's have a look at 2.
Yeah, certainly not as fresh for second one.
No, just you seem like you're searching for something with that one.
Yep.
Try 3. Sort of spicy note, that one.
Not the same sort of fruit structure as the first one. Yeah, I think 3 is a bit more of a serious wine. The proposition that we're after, sort of that nice warm summer's day, sort of afternoon, sort of that barbecue drinking occasion.
Yeah, and I think we could confidently say that's better than the benchmarks we looked at earlier on. That's a nice wine in that, in that category.
Yep.
Yep.
Option 1 and option 3, we thought they were really pretty good. They're unfinished, so they're unfined, so there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done at the winery. That'll clean them up a little bit, remove some of the little bit of crunchiness that's there at the moment. We will look for probably sort of the fruit characteristics just to be dialed up a little bit more in the front palate and just make sure that it holds that sort of really nice and long so that you're left with that taste sort of long after you've taken that sip.
We're here at Brown Brothers in Millawa and we've got post-vintage tasting. This is a big deal if you're a winemaker. It's nerve-wracking to have everyone sitting around the room critiquing your wines. It's a big moment and you sort of have to really put your emotions in your back pocket and play that poker face. We scored the wines out of 20. What I don't want to hear is the number 13. 13 is unlucky for everyone, but 13 when you're a winemaker tells you that your wine is faulty. Essentially, you've stuffed it up if you get a 13. So if I don't see a 13, I'll be very happy. So we've got some heavy hitters in here today. We have Joel, who's our head of winemaking here at Brown Brothers. And then we have Steve, our external judge. I don't know how he tastes wine, I don't know his taste preferences, but he's very in touch with what's happening in the marketplace and what's happening in the industry. So in that way, I might get a curveball thrown at me and he could just turn around and say, no, this is not what the market's looking for.
Yeah, it's making me hungry.
I'm going to start off with wine 1, the 2022 Tarango. Joel, can you lead off for us, mate?
Yeah, I thought this was bang on style for what we're looking for with the Tarango. Really crunchy, bright cherry fruit, really sort of vibrant and alive in the glass. It's a refreshing, I mean, we're sort of looking for a refreshing style, but that's how it drinks as well. It's a really sort of refreshing and vibrant, alive kind of wine. So happy with where that's at. I gave it 17 points.
And Harry, could you also give us a comment, mate?
I haven't tried it for ages and it's so nice to get back to seeing what it's like. And I was just saying to Catherine that's still got that lovely sour cherry, but there's also layers of cherry flavour rolling through it. It's really elegant on the palate, quite juicy, and there's a nice sort of herbal element. It's only sort of soft in there, but it just adds a really complex layer to the Tarango. So, yeah, I think it's sort of bang on style for us. It's looking really good.
Cool. And Steve, you're going to have to comment with a 20 there as well on the Tarango.
It's just lovely to see, like, you know, what a light body red wine can look like in that there's that whole category of sort of smashable, delicious, light reds, and it's again one of those wines that you smell and taste it, and you just want to drink it. You almost, don't want to drink a whole glass of it. It's got that going on. Lovely carbonic character. A little bit sort of that nice leafy, but I saw lots of strawberries over cherries in that wine too. I hadn't really seen that before, so delicious. Yeah.
Steve gave it a 20. I could not be happier. What an amazing outcome. It actually shows that this style of wine is being appreciated, and for a judge like Steve, who really understands the market, for him to be so excited about it and to have such great comments, we did it.
These are often tasting events where we're looking and sort of trying to be quite critical about these wines, but that's the kind of wine you just put in your mouth and want to drink it. Yeah.
This means we're moving forward. This is an exciting time. It means that we're on the right track. Overall average 17.2, so if that was in the wine show system, I'd get a silver. So I can only be happy. They're all very positive results for a team of people that are really skilled and really talented in judging wine. Yeah, sigh of relief.
Okay, girls, I've got someone here on live chat who's got a message for you.
Oh, it's Ben.
Hi, girls.
Hi, Ben.
Nice to see you. Just wanted to give you guys an update post the tasting on the Tarango. So the wine panel and myself, we love the samples. Flavoured wine is the real standout. We think that's really going to resonate with all of our customers. So excited to tell you guys that we're planning on an initial order of 15,000 bottles. That's so we can get Tarango into every Dan Murphy store in the country. Great work, girls. Really impressed with everything that you've put forward so far. Great job.
That's amazing, Ben. Thank you so much for the feedback.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Thanks, bye.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Well done.
Okay.
That is really awesome.
We're off and racing.
Yeah, so not much to do with the wine from here on in except for getting it into a bottle.
Yeah, got to get back to the winery and just get that blend sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it into bottle and get it to every store in Australia.
With Catherine and Caroline and Emma being part of this launch, it really cements the women in the wine industry. The wine industry is pretty tiny in Australia, and to have women at the forefront doing innovative things is really important, because you can't be if you can't see them.
I think it's a fantastic achievement, and I didn't really have any doubts they wouldn't be able to do it just quietly, but yeah, I'm pretty happy they did.
It actually makes me feel a bit emotional because I know the work that goes in behind the scenes. From decades ago when we started to then re-energising and refreshing the concept and the enormous amount of work that goes to getting the product from vine to market. It does make me feel emotional. I'm very proud.
The fact that Tarango is getting into Dan Murphy's and being sold all around Australia is really exciting for the family, and we're really proud and happy that Catherine and Emma and the rest of the team have pulled this off.
A lot of people assume that the wine industry is male-dominated, but out there in the winery, out there in the vineyards, it is girl power already. So we're making wines for everyone to love, but also with that female influence and that passion that I believe that women can put behind the wine really resonates all the way through this project we've been working on.
I'm finally here.
I can see it.
That's so exciting. And it's finally on shelves.
Oh, it looks so good. Love it. I want to pick it up.
I think it still looks refreshing even though it's out of the fridge.
Totally taking one of these with me.
Should we go and see if it's in the fridge? Let's do it. All right, it should be over here next to rosés in the fridge, which is so exciting. I think
chilled wine section.
Like this is the holy grail. And that we can get a red wine in the fridge at Dan Murphy's. Like that is a win.
I'm looking for the blue.
I can see it. Oh, how good is that? Right next to rosé, so perfect for the occasion. Do you know what? I'm going to buy one too.
Take one home each.
Take one home to drink this Saturday and really enjoy it. Love it. Take one back to Catherine. I think she'll enjoy it. She'll be excited to see her baby come to life.
Quite often people will say, sort of, is this business in safe hands, or are we going to keep the next generations going? It's a moment when we get asked that question that you sort of start getting that sort of like twitch in your eye and maybe that little, this is actually on my shoulders. So we are lucky. We've got each other. We've got an amazing, strong family around us, and that's what will get us through to the next generation.